Good afternoon, Bobcat Nation. Love the warm reception. I'm Jordan Smith here at STU Sports Network, joined by the one and only Coach Rychel. So, Coach Rychel, obviously you guys are coming off an all-time classic game against Stetson University. Obviously, again, wasn't the result you guys hoped for, but again, a hard-fought victory. I want to ask first, give us the coach's point of view of your overall emotions and thoughts during the game.
I thought we played hard, and we had some good things, but obviously I don't know if we can call it an all-time situation when we didn't win. But we played hard. The guys fought the whole time. At the end of the day, we need to be more disciplined and find a way to win. That we didn't play well enough in that game and do things well enough to deserve to win.
Absolutely. And how you talk about you're not super big on moral victories, but what were some of the positive takeaways you did take from that game overall?
We did a great job running the ball again. Some different guys on defense that got an opportunity to play and compete. But there's in all facets of the game, offense, defense, special teams, there's a lot of improvement that needs to happen in order for us to reach some of our goals and make some things happen of what we want this season to be. So there's some good things in every game that you play, but at the end of the day, we got to get better.
I'd like you to build on that a little more, on the specifics on what you mean by improvement.
Well, you can't have that many penalties and win a football game.
Right.
You can't create no turnovers and continue to try to win football games. Just mental mistakes with some substitution stuff and that type of thing. When you look at the course of the game, and Stetson, they had a good team, and I respect everything that they're doing there. But a lot of the success they had is we extended drives and had penalties on defense that allowed them to do some things. The only time we really got stopped on offense is we had penalties that backed us up and put us in bad situations. I mean, when you have 580 yards of total offense and score as many points as we did, that's not the outcome that you should have. That we have to do a better job of scoring. We're in the red zone. We had a mishap on a field goal, an extra point, missed a field goal. We had a chance to score right at the beginning of the game and didn't get the ball in the end zone when we should have. So a lot of different contributing factors.
Well said, well said. And so, again, this is your second time in program history playing against a D1 opponent. Last year, played against Butler University. Kind of give us a compare and contrast between this game and Butler University. What were the things that you saw in the Butler game that maybe led to a similar result in the Stetson game and vice versa?
Similar, just mistakes. Last year, Butler was a little bit different because it was our first game of the season. So some different type of mistakes in that game. That carried over a little bit and the same type of thing in this game. When you play your first game and it's not your opener, you're going to have some of these deals. We shouldn't have been in that situation with a Week 2 game, that we should have ironed out some of those penalties and other things. And some of the penalties, I want to say I don't mind them, but when you have aggressive penalties with holding and some of the other stuff that kind of takes place throughout the actual play, those things, pass interference, you can live with some of them. You have to deal with it, but the guys are playing hard and things happen. The pre-snap penalties and that type of stuff, those are discipline issues that you can't have if you want to be a championship team.
So really the biggest thing you're really harping on is discipline and just really cutting down on essentially giving away those yards and giving away possessions. That's the biggest thing you're really harping on? Absolutely,
and it's no different than any other week. I think if you look at any football game, the more disciplined team, the more physical team, the team that executes the best, that's the team that's going to win. So I think we talked about it a little bit last week, that the expectation of our program is that how you do anything is how you do everything. And it comes down to if you're going to class on time and you're coming to meetings on time and you're watching enough film and you're turning your assignments in on time and you're going to the weight training like you're supposed to. All those things that take no talent. It's just about your character and your discipline. Ultimately, that's what wins football games. And I don't want to say it was totally terrible last week, but not to the expectation that we feel we can compete at.
Honestly, really well said. I don't know how to add on to that. But let's lighten the mood a little bit as we spin it forward. So you guys obviously still have a long road trip taking on 3 nationally ranked teams, most notably number 2 Kaiser in the rematch. Before we get into the preview of this, a lot of things that I've been asked by a lot of STU fans has been the lack of home games until around the end of the season. What has been the difficulty in being able to schedule the home games except for the opener and against University of Fort Lauderdale? If you could give us some insight on that.
Well, our conference schedule is a little tricky this year, that our first 2 conference games are on the road. So our first conference game is until October 14th. So obviously it flips next year that those first 2 conference games would be at home. We play at home a little bit earlier. To be honest with you, we've searched everyone throughout the country, all kinds of different levels, and didn't have anybody that's willing to come to South Florida and play us. So we had to get creative and put ourselves in a position. We talked about playing some good games to prepare us for our tough conference schedule and everything else. So to go and play a ranked opponent that's been to the playoffs last year and that type of thing, it's a good challenge for us, and it'll put us in a position to hopefully be even better as we progress through the season.
And to just add on to what you just said, how do you guys mentally prepare for that long road trip? Because, again, we're talking about a shark tank of teams just coming off of Stetson, and then you have Texas Wesleyan, Carroll, Weber, and then lastly, number 2, Kaiser, which, again, is something that you guys have circled on that schedule. But, again, how do you deal with that long road trip where a lot of teams don't tend to play that many high-level teams back to back to back all on the road?
1 week at a time. That all we're focused on is Carroll, and we'll worry about the next team we play when it's that week to play them. So we're prepared for Carroll right now. We're fortunate with our administration to be able to take some of these trips and travel the way that you need to be successful. So our guys are up for it. And sometimes you play even better on the road, or it's a little bit more comfortable because there aren't the distractions of being on campus. As a small scholarship program, it's not like we're one of those Power 5 schools that's taking all these guys to a hotel the night before and things like that. That there's regular students on campus, there's people in the dorms, there's social events that occur on campus that need to for our campus community that you have to battle around and make sure that you can stay focused, where now we're on the road for sure. Nobody else is around besides the team, and you're in your hotel room, and we can kind of control that atmosphere a little bit more.
Controlling the atmosphere, and with that, we're going to spin it forward as we're going to have Volleyball Now next segment. I'm Jordan Smith, joined by the one and only Coach Rychel. Thank you for your time, Coach Rychel, and we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Hello and welcome back. Hello and welcome back to the STU Sports Network. I'm Greta, and I'm here with women's volleyball coach, Coach Whitney. Coach, you were ranked number 1 in the Sun Conference preseason poll coming in this year, and we've absolutely seen the growth from last season. What can we confidently expect from you and your team throughout the rest of the season?
So we're about a week away from our first conference match. We expect to play clean and do really well in conference this year. I think we set ourselves up for success every year by creating a really tough preseason schedule. So far we've played 4 ranked teams, and we've beat 2 of them so far. So we're definitely trying to make a statement nationally before the conference starts. But we expect to play clean, confident. I think we've got our groove down, our system down, and everyone's starting to hone in on their roles. So we're excited, and we're just a week away.
Absolutely. And to put spotlight on one of your players, one of your freshmen has already been named Sun Conference Player of the Week, which is an incredible way to start the season. What can you tell me about Peyton Berkey?
So Peyton has been amazing coming in, taking on a leadership role. She's been really confident, mature, and she's excelled in a lot of different ways. So one thing that's really great about Peyton is she brings a lot of dynamic to our team. Not only is she our setter, so she's running our offense, but she's also involved in the offense. So since Peyton's lefty, she can actually go up on the net and swing. So that's added a new dynamic for us. And she's really owned defense as well. So Peyton's been a really dynamic addition for us, and she's contributing on all ends, and I see her really growing within the program these next few years.
Of course, just an all-around player, and especially great to see with one of your freshmen.
Yes.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. We will be right back with more questions for volleyball right after this break on the STU Sports Network.
And we're back here on the STU Sports Network. My name is Buroz, and we're still with Coach Whitney Battoe. Coach, we talked a little bit about the season so far, how about some of your players have been standing out, but I want to know more about you. What brought you to volleyball? Why did you pick it up? What was it about the sport that you had a passion for early on?
So I started volleyball probably middle school, I think it was. I love just doing all types of sports, so any way I could be involved in team sport I was, and I just ended up honing in on volleyball when I joined a club called Sports Performance back in Chicago, Illinois. It's one of the most recognized in the country, so I didn't really have any other choice but to commit to excellence is what their logo is, so that's just kind of what locked me into volleyball. I've loved it ever since. I've made amazing friends. I see all the skills and lessons that can translate to real life, so that's kind of what's kept me in the game, and ultimately throughout my playing time led me to understand I want to be a coach too, so I can kind of share those lessons and share the excitement and those experiences with players as well. But yeah, it's been a great journey.
Where or how did that journey end up with you coming to St. Thomas? You were a 4-year starter, actually the all-time kill leader here in the St. Thomas. What was it about the program that wanted you to come down here and play for us?
Well, potentially not for much longer. One of my players, Amanda Allende, might beat me out, so we're hoping for her to pull through this year and beat me out. But what led me to St. Thomas was I actually had about 3 teammates from my club that I just mentioned, Sports Performance in Chicago, that came to St. Thomas. Shout out to Dana, one of my best friends. She'll love it that I give her a shout out here. But they kind of told me about the culture of the program, and I loved that, obviously, that it's in Miami, Florida. That's a no-brainer. But the fact that this program had a really strong sense of culture and commitment to win championships, that's what really drew me here. And when I came, I really felt what I was sold, and that's what's kept me here 10 years later. But I just think this program has so much potential. There's so much support and resources at the university for us to grow, which I'm really grateful for. And I just see so much potential still to grow within this program.
Did you know while you were here that coaching was going to be something that you looked for after your playing days were done, or is that something that kind of just happened in the spur of the moment?
So I always wanted to coach. I just wasn't sure what my avenue was going to be to get into it. And I think I had 3 coaches while I was here. They kind of all taught me different things and encouraged me to be a coach myself, which really pushed me to be like, okay, this is what I want to do, and gave me a little bit more confidence to pursue it. But yeah, I mean, ever since I started coaching, I haven't turned back. I definitely know this is where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be doing. I love it. I love my players. It just feels right.
And does that mean that you knew early on, once coaching became the next step, that it was going to be St. Thomas for your coaching career?
Well, this is a funny story. The way that I got my coaching job was I worked in admissions here to start off. I went to go get a pizza bagel from Einstein's, and that's when I ran into President Armstrong. And he had mentioned, hey, do you want to coach volleyball here? And it just kind of felt like fate. Like I couldn't believe on my way to a pizza bagel that I was getting offered my dream job. But here we are, season 4. So it kind of just felt like fate. Like St. Thomas has brought me a lot of blessings, and this was just another one on top of it that came out of surprise. So,
what a story for sure. The best way I don't think that might be the best way to get your first coaching career. Now, going into your first few years, the program has built, it felt like a bit of a foundation building every single year. Mm-hmm. What have you seen the biggest growth between your first year, 2020, to now where the team is receiving votes? Like you said, you've beaten some top 25 teams. What has been the biggest difference in those few years?
I think elevating a standard. I mean, it first starts with a standard you put for the program itself, and then obviously you're recruiting people that can believe in that standard and can build on it. So I put a lot of credit to my players. I think the first year, when you set the standard with a new coach, it can ruffle a little bit of feathers, and it's big change. But all the players that have been with me since then, Amanda is one of them that's been with me all 4 of those years, and the people I've recruited in have totally bought into what we call gold standard or a commitment to excellence and helped us elevate to that next level. But all in all, it has to be your standard. Just holding people accountable, doing everything at the highest level, and believing that you can be top 25 and ultimately go to a national championship one day here soon.
Well, I know I speak for all the STU faithful that come out to cheer for all the games. We're hoping for that. We're really excited for this season. We're going to take a quick break here on the STU Sports Network. When we come back, it's going to be men's soccer coach Feliks next.
We are now back live at the Coaches Show with men's soccer coach Feliks Matz. I've been covering you guys now for about 4 years. Before we get into the nitty and gritty, this might be the wackiest year I've had covering you guys, and I've seen a whole lot. But first, I got to talk about the Lindsey Wilson game. About how long was the weather delay? Like 3 hour weather delay. And then I'm going to apologize because I jinxed you guys. So on the broadcast, I said, hopefully we get through this last 1 minute and 40 seconds unscathed, and then the power goes out. Give us your coach's point of view of trying to keep the team prepared from the long weather delay and then the power outage that happens right when you guys are up 3-1.
So there's a history with Lindsey Wilson. We played them in a national tournament, and we had a delay for the whole day because of the similar thing. So there's many things in this situation. We had a delay for pretty much 1 day. And that was in a national tournament. So when we played them home, the same thing happened. So those things we got to isolate. We just got to play. So yes, lightning delay. We don't play for an hour. Then we come back. We play all of this in the back of our mind, but it's football. It's the game, and the guys were ready. So, yes, and we were playing 3 minutes left in the game. Something happened with the lights, and it's emotional. But the bottom line, we got a result. So, you didn't jinx anything. That's part of the game. It was beautiful. It's life of Florida. Rain, storm, delays, but it was a beautiful game, and everybody was a witness of that. So,
man, absolutely. I still felt the need to apologize because especially the heavy rain that came afterwards. But again, like you just mentioned, you guys played them last year in the national tournament. Unfortunately, did lose 4-0, but then now you get that revenge with a 3-1 win. How have you seen this team grow from last year to this year to where you're able to take on a number 5 Lindsey Wilson and make it look as if you guys were the ones coming in with the number 5 next to the name?
So the team was very motivated. It hurt us last year. 4-0 in the national tournament. It was one of the worst games we performed. So the guys knew that Lindsey Wilson is coming to Miami, and they were very excited, but they were also very prepared. So it was one of the best games we've done, and we prepared the team well, and the guys were very excited. So, yeah, the result was great for us, and again, it's Lindsey Wilson. They're one of the best teams in the country. They have the accolades, but we are getting there. Maybe we have not won the national title. We don't have that, but we're always there, always in the Sweet 16, Elite 8. So it's part of our job now. It's part of our mentality to be in this level, to play against a team like Lindsey Wilson. But we have other games coming up. Weber is next. It's a Sun Conference opponent, so we're ready for that. And we got to move on now. As we win this game, now we're ready for the Weber University, which is on Wednesday next week.
Absolutely. I love how you just touched the mentality of kind of really defending the name. But we're going to talk about, again, kind of following a bit of this interesting trend of games. Missouri Baptist, again, very interesting game where you guys ended up going down to 9 men at one point with 2 red cards. And I would be remiss to ask again, and two honestly most key players in the defense, in Franco Acerbi, All-American goalkeeper, and Captain Joaquin Domber. Again, how do you handle that situation again with those 2 red cards, and kind of give your overall general thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, we got to keep our emotions under control. If we have 2 captains, they're not going to play next game. So that's concerning, but it was a very emotional game, very tough game. We got to be better. Refs had a really tough job as well. It was a tough day. Mistakes were made, but the bottom line, and I told my team, we got to do better. We got to keep our emotions under control and play this game better. Of course, now 2 captains are out of the game, but we have very good leadership. We have a few seniors, returners, and it's a test, right? Goalkeeper is not going to play. Our captain is not going to be on the field on Wednesday, but we have enough quality, enough leadership, many seniors, and it's a good test. We're still going to find a way to win. It's our job. It's going to be tougher than usual, but again, we are prepared. We just got to organize, get some things moving, but we have good feeling about Wednesday. We'll find a way. We'll find a way. If 1 player's not on, 2 players, we'll find a way. We have enough quality and enough mentality, and it's a test. It's a great test for our team, and we got to pass it. We got to find solutions to win this game. It's a tough matchup. First conference game, so we better be ready, and we'll find solutions.
Absolutely. And the last thing I really want to harp on before we close this out, you mentioned seniors and leadership. Again, you have a lot of guys who are seniors, 5th years, some even 6 years. Again, really talk about how has that really impacted the team, and how do you feel as if that will drive down not only to just Wednesday but the rest of the season, as you guys, again, your guys are now at the point where it's not just winning a Sun Conference tournament. We're talking about national champion status.
Yeah, it's always in the back of my mind. I've been here in this program for a very long time, and we got to the level that pressure is there. I know it. We know it. Team knows it. And we just got to perform. Yes, today is the day that we got to prepare for Wednesday, but we got to look ahead. Yes, I know that you're sitting here and you're pretty much asking me how we're going to win the Sun Conference. But Wednesday is Weber. And then day at a time, game at a time, with, of course, a long-term goal is winning the Sun Conference, getting to the national tournament. So it's the players who've been in this situation, and they've been 3-4 years in playing like this. And it's expected of them to win Sun Conference, get to the national tournament. and get to the Final Four finally. We've never been in that situation. We're knocking on Elite Eight, but we don't get there. How do we get there? Leadership, you just mentioned that. Seniors, juniors, grad students. It's in the blood. It's in their mind. And they have very good, great group guys that are always thinking, how do we get to the next level? And it's on their shoulders. It's on their shoulders to perform on Wednesday and just keep on going game at a time. Wednesday is Weber, Warner, and then we proceed in the Sun Conference. And the long term is a national tournament. And guys are ready. We will not disappoint. We just got a day at a time working on that progress for Sun Conference and then, of course, NIA National Tournament. So
one day at a time, and the guys are ready. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Coach's Show.
Thank you.
I'm Jordan Smith, joined by the great, and honestly, again, the one who's carrying this and who's built around Feliks Max. Thank you, everybody, and that's going to conclude the Coach's Show here at the STU Sports Network.